Good morning, good day to you, as usual, wherever and whenever you listen to a series of knowledge seekers from Keshe Foundation Specific Institute. We welcome you back as usual, and I do apologize about last week. It was very sensitive, but had to be done, and we try to keep at least our tradition going. But we go back to the same topic and same level of teaching as we open up a new Pandora box of knowledge. In the world of the science and technology and physics, there is a lot of ambiguity, especially in respect to what we see in the cosmos. We never understood, we took it for granted, we call it the Earth has a magnetic field, gravitational field. We call it that there are fields, cosmic rays in the universe and the rest of it. But the question is, where did they come from? How did it start? What is the origin? And what does it reflect? In so many ways, as we have taught over years, one by one, the proof of the pudding in eating it is the way the scientists are reporting the features we see on the structure of what we call 3I. But we have to understand how it works, how it is. And sooner or later, we come to understand that we know the knowledge, but we never looked at it. We see it on everyday time of life, but we don't understand it. We never understood it because our scientists are what we call forerunners in knowledge. They were too physical, never understood the energy. Those who understood the energy became gurus, and those who understood how to manipulate the energy became worse than the gurus themselves. But the whole thing is starting one way, a plasma. What is it? What it be it? It's all, and it's itself part of. What does this mean? You have an ocean. It's the best way we can explain the work of a plasma. Water is a plasma. In a way, if you understand that if you have a standing by ocean and you get a cup of it, and then you take a spoon of it, and then you take a drop of it, all carries the same information. It's just how each one behaves. How does the water behaves in an ocean, how it behaves in a cup, how it behaves in a spoon, and how it behaves in a drop. The drop is the cell of body of the man. The spoon is the body of the man. That cup is our earth. And then the ocean is the universe, part of it, the solar system. There is no difference. So when we say we are a made man in the image of myself, because we are a drop from that cup, we are that drop from that ocean. And depending on its size, it behaves different. You cannot create a tornado in a cup and in a spoon. But if you create condition, you get tornadoes, waves, and everything else in the ocean. But if you start analyzing the structure of the ocean, we don't have microscopes to watch the whole of the ocean, so we watch a drop. We see the behavior in a drop. It's got bacteria, it's got this, that's what's in this ocean, that's what's in this cup. And the drop, when we pick many of it or put many of it together, makes that ocean. And when we take a drop from that ocean, it carries all the characteristics of the ocean in a drop. This is exactly what the plasma of creation is. I am the beginning, I'm the end. The beginning is the ocean, the end is that drop. So as we cannot study, we do not see the behavior of the whole structure of the universe and the unicos, then we understand that we can study that drop. How does a plasma behave in the cell of the man? How does a plasma behave in an atom? Our scientists have never had the understanding of how to test the drop to understand the behavior of the universe. That drop is a proton, that drop is an electron, that drop is cell of the man. When they interact, they create conditions. When they are slightly of different strength, they create a different condition and everything else which goes with it. If you put a few drops of different colors or different strength in oil or whatever in them, you see they don't mix. They create their barriers, they create their boundaries. It's the same with the plasma. When you create a condition of a plasma and you put many plasmas next to each other, they have a specific characteristics feature. They always become hexagonal because they accommodate each other. They cannot move against each other. And we see that on the skin of the man. Look at your skin. Nobody has cut shape between the cells of your skin. It's a magnetic field pressures from underneath and adjacent cells, which is again plasmas, which dictates that. Then we look at the north poles of any system, or the south pole. Or when we go in a dimensional size, we can even see it on the equator line. We see hexagonal shapes. We see this clearly in north pole of the Saturn and Jupiter. So the magnetic field of the elements inside, plus the pressure from the atmospheric condition of the solar system, forces to create that hexagonal shape. Now what we hear in past 24 48 hours, they see hexagonal control structure on 3i because it uses dynamic magnetic fields. Now we see the pictures of it. We understand exactly how it behaves. How do you create magnetic fields? We try to create electronic system, electrical system. We get magnets. We create dynamic system to control the plasma. But if other scientists knew that if you play with the plasma from inside, you don't need to create magnetic fields from outside. This is why, yes, last week in the teaching, I explained the plasma, the creator, is a plasma. Do you want to create a tornado in it? Or do you want to create a shake in the bottle or in a cup? When you shake it, you create waves. When you squeeze it in different parts, you get tornadoes. That's all it is. And this is exactly what happens when you look at the waves on the ocean. When you look at the waves standing on the beach and seeing the waves coming to you on different waves in the ocean, nobody has created them. Nobody has done anything to them. It's just the pressure of the environment pushes it to manifest itself as a wave. In the ocean, we call it a wave. In the plasma technology, we call it magnetic field. That's the same thing, the same process, the same understanding. So if you play with the plasma, you get the magnetic fields. And how you play with that plasma decides what strength that will show. You push it very gently, the ocean is calm, serene. You pressurize it a little bit, you get the wave. You put something in it and squeeze it fast. It's like a boat going through water. You get the wave on the beach. And that's all it is. And in any sense, if you understand this, then you understand that the magnetic field is within the plasma. It just needs how you squeeze it, how you play with it to manifest itself. This is why that the whole universe is cosmic ray. Cosmic ray is the essence of the creation, is essence of the embodiment of the body of the creator. Once we understand this, then the whole mystery of the creation comes to an end. We create waves out of the calm ocean. We create a magnetic field out of pressurizing different way the plasma itself. Our scientists have never tested this because they never understood this. All they think is squeeze it, then you fuse it. Fusion is a dream which will never come true. If the man understands it, he can squeeze it together to get whatever they're trying to do. Fusion in plasma technology comes from collaboration, comes in understanding how to shake the plasma, not how to squeeze the plasma. This is why the fusion scientists of today always talk about billions of degrees, because it's a cat. You squeeze it too hard, it's gonna scratch and it's gonna run out of control. When you play with it, it gives you everything you need. It's like a tap. You open a little, you get a little. You open more, you get more. You want it hot, you want it cold. You want it to be with the pressure. This is exactly what the world of science has to understand. This is what we see with 3i, but the world of science is amazing. They do things with not against the law of physics. It's against the law of physics of matter structure, but it's not against the law of the plasma. Magnetic fields, collective, how you play with. You decide on the structure. When we look at the new pictures released of the structure of 3i, now the biggest and the worst one, we have to see the structure of the R2, which is the most amazing structure man has ever seen. When you look at the structure of the 3i and you look at the speed of it, as I explained before, is book number 2. But it's a combination of. We have seen this. Man knows this. We have seen balls of fire, balls of plasma in the sky. We have seen structures like a triangle. We have seen structures like a cigarette. We have seen structures in different shapes of disc and everything else. The only way this is created is by repositioning the star formation reactors, or creating combination of them. And you as knowledge seekers are fully aware, understand this, because you've been with it, you understand it. So when we use, all you've done up to now is putting 4 reactors and playing games with it and see what it does. When you organize the reactors in a certain way, you make it elongated, but you still keep the what we call the orientation of the star formation. And then if you add all the center of star formation to a center one, you get your plasma. Then you get the shape you want. Shapes are made out of the positioning of the reactors, not out of the strength of the reactors. Read the patterns. It's clearly explained in detail in pattern how you make walls, how you can disappear, create a condition of the magnetic field balance in the environment that you become invisible. The two, there is nothing to interact for it to be shown. Understanding of the position. In a way, you don't dilute, you bring a balance to. Now we understand the next step in the space technology. Now we have to comprehend the whole process. You just played with star formation. You never played with a combination of star formations. This is how, if you go back to 129 Tesla test in the Sensano, this is what we did. We elongated the 3, 4 star formations one to another. You've seen this technology, but at that time you could not understand. We transferred one to another to another. There were sets of star formations in the lab. Look at the pictures, go back and find the videos. This is how it was created, to create a high strength magnetic field without any damage, because we played with squeezing an open plasma. We didn't play to laser beam it. So when we see the structures like 3I, you already had experience of it 10 years ago. Today's 2025. These tests were done in 2014. Live. You watched it, you monitored it, you every time somebody called, it's gone to 60, it's gone to 70. And if you create this, why did during the tests of what we call in the Sensano, American forces were always informing us we have maneuvers. We informed the Americans continuously because they were down the line on a laser beam of the path of the what we call the star formation. If you were knowledge seekers in those sessions in the Sensano, we could hear the roar of the fighter planes going to Libya to start all sorts of things. And you could hear days when you were silent because we informed we are testing. We interfered with the structure from tens of kilometers away. Because we knew how to squeeze the plasma to 129 and above. Because we played with the magnetic field, we squeezed that ocean. We did not play with an arrow. If you as knowledge seekers understand this, and as now we are pushing forward rapidly with the development of the space defense technology of the Keshe Foundation through our structures, then you understand in next few months, the games played by structures like 3I are the structures we will play with is no different. This structure, once arrives on this planet, will change shape into a disc, than the arrow, because it's arrived in destination. If it decides to. What you call UFO, hundreds of kilometers across. Because it goes from book 1, now is in book 2, and the book 3 is to come, back to a plasma. It cannot operate on the small diameter of the Earth size with the arrow shape. It does not fit into. It creates frictions which does not allow it to be in the arrow shape. It has to change shape to a spherical shape. It has to change shape to a disc. That then it can interact. And then we'll see the changes in the man. They will use frequencies, they use pulses, that it matches to everything that the man did not want to have. A peaceful man. The change will come if decided in that order, because all will be done is played with the plasma. And which plasma, in what rate, converts into matter state of the emotion. Now we understand that what we are what you understand, what has been the teaching, comes to this point. But at the same time, we have to understand the knowledge. We have to understand the technology, that we do not become subordinates. We are equal. You knowledge seekers who understood this, you're equal to those guys inside 3i who dictate the position. And if you made a peaceful man out of yourself, in a true sense, you become part of. And this is why we're seeing the structures like this baffles us, because it doesn't follow the law, because it follows the law of the magnetic field in the plasma, and the captain decides how to squeeze it, what to position. In the world of the fighter jets we've seen, what do? They create a different shape. Some modern ones now, they change the position of the engine. They go up vertical. They can land, they can slide. They change the position of the wing on flight. This is exactly what the captain of 3i is doing. But instead of fixed position, they move reactors in different position in the reactor. They don't need to do, because these reactors, as I said before in the teachings, are not solid state reactor plasmas. They are loose plasma without confinement. So moving them is easy. He can divide the system into thousands of pieces and bring it back together, because he doesn't move physically a reactor. He moves only the energy, and that energy, which is, we call it the plasma of the star formation, moves through the emotion of the essence of his wish. Go back to the teachings of years ago. I said, you trust your soul to a captain. How many of you in the past year test, you sat with the captains? Trust to give. This is exactly what he does. And then what he does, he moves your soul, which you trusted in, to be in that position, because we're going to be peaceful, and your soul to another position. Now you become the reactor, you become that plasma of the star formation, which gives a new formation and shape to the system. You all have tested this, those who join the sessions on Fridays of each month, without you knowing. We have tuned you into a system. Those of you who attended all the sessions of the past year, especially in the past 6 months, once the situation turns up, if situation turns up with the 3i, you are the first ones which will connect, because you've been trained. We set you up for that process. The captains are ready to hand over. We cannot tell you everything in detail, because it will not fit. It frightens many of you. And it does not a physical movement. Is energy fields, what we call the soul, which transfers to those of you who became satellite, and you're sitting there for, watch what's going to happen. It's not containment, it's connection of fields. And as what we call a man of science of the plasma, you don't need to do anything. You just blow, and the wind creates a wave. I don't need to go there and stir it up. I just need to move one soul, and the field, the strength, everything is released. This is why we see structures of man's physical body always in damaged position, or in crisis with itself. It creates a cancer of itself. It creates everything else, because man has not learned how to change the emotion through the soul. That confinement does not lead to creation of a galaxy. That confinement and emotion does not lead to creation of a star and a planet. You call it the cancer of liver, you call it the cancer of bone, and you call it the cancer of blood. The cancer of blood, in fact, if you understand it, is what we call cosmic ray, which get clustered in one point. Why do you get the skin cancer? Because again, the same position. The magnetic plasma fields position themselves in a way that they squeeze tight and they create in the universe a star, a planet, on your skin, something which you cannot handle, and you call it a star. And because it's magnetic field by the emotion, what happens to you? You get that wave and you call it a cancer cell. There is no difference. If the world of science in the part of the medical application understand this, all you need to do is change the wave field the strength. But there is one thing in this whole process, is what is the soul decides where to be. The soul is not at peace. You get what you have as a peace on your body. The wrong wave creates a wrong star. The wrong wave creates another star. Cancer of liver, cancer of skin, diseases, and everything else. In the world of universe, we get cosmic ray storms, they call it. On earth, we call it hurricanes. In the body of the man, we call it emotion. Storm of emotions create havoc the way a tornado, the way tropical cyclones appear. It's the same word. It's the same principle. But in your body, you create a storm through emotion, which is purely magnetic field, because you touch that plasma, you touch the ocean with the fields of emotion. Then, if you understand this, no one, no entity in the universe can be cleverer than you, superior than you, because you understand the yin and yang, you understand the culture of the creation, the matter state and the energy state. And you use the energy, what we call magnetic field in motion, to create the matter at the point, the place, and time. We clearly indicated that. We showed that in May in China. You had 4 reactors operating. One of the reactors had nothing in it, could not create motion. It could not create emotion under no circumstances. We saw no material being created around it. All the 4 sets were exactly copy of each other, except the one, which we explained in the presentation in China, was void of material which could create the emotion for it. That emotion could create a wave to create material. There were no materials around that reactor. Empty. Empty of emotion. Because it could not disturb. All of you, look at what we put inside the cause. Is this in it? No, we create a condition outside it, but as you are so physical, you don't see. Because we know how to squeeze the plasma to lead to creation of the soft wave you get whoosh on the beach and you enjoy, or make a hurricane that you run from the beach. It's understanding that everything is the same. Man has chosen different names through the lack of his understanding for the same principles. You call it a hurricane. You call it a stroke. Hurricane comes from the dimension of the fields of interaction within the ocean by pressurized from outside. You call it stroke by the emotion which creates that hurricane. When the physicality cannot hold it, it transfers it to matter state, it destroys itself, destroys the cell of the body of the man, and then you have handicaps and you have the paralysis and the rest. Is it any different than when the hurricane hits the beaches of the America or in Asia? There you destroy the brain cells, there you destroy the beaches, the trees, the houses, and people. In fact, one place, fields of the plasma combination with what is already matter state. The other one plays with the emotion of the man, which is like a hurricane. You had a stroke, find out why. You had a huge damages through the storm, find out why. You have a blood pressure and it causes you the stroke and all the subjects which goes with it. It's no different than having trees hanging, hurricanes and tornadoes. There in your blood is your calcium. There in there is the tree and the brushes and the cars and everything which floats and the hits and flies. The damage doesn't come out of the car. It comes from the pressure created by the interaction of the fields of the ocean, the plasma of it. Here you do it with your own body. And what you do, the target is in your hand. You just push the arrow. Direction, the brain. Direction, the heart. And in that arrow has got calcium, and that creates your pressure. You don't understand the difference because you don't want to understand the unification of it. It's exactly the same. Have you seen storms in the middle of the spaces between the galaxies? Sometime, yes, because something somewhere has made a motion. Otherwise, it's calm. It's like the ocean being on the beaches of Bahamas. This is the beauty of understanding the science of matter and plasma. Then you understand you are the creator because you create that part. The ocean is there and you take a drop from the cup and the spoon and it's in that drop, that's the ocean. But if you put too many of that drops together, you make that ocean. I made man in the image of myself. I am the drop, as the drop is me, the ocean. And once man understands this, once the world of science and man, common man, connects the two together, there is no magic. It's the beauty of the creation. How you create the storm, how you create the calm, is how in the life you have a stroke or you live a long present life. There, the environment decides. Here, you decide in the environment you live. The storm dies and it goes. So does the man and it goes. But what is done, what is left is the same. The damage, the leftovers, the children, and the leftovers, and the physical life he left. It's no difference. There is no need for attachment because the attachment is part of the one cycle. You go from one to another. It does not matter how much you can hold on to it. And once our scientists, once our progressive development of knowledge carries on, we as what we call the knowledge seekers should be able to stand every possible scenario that baffles the scientist in NASA with the knowledge that we know. We are aware of, we are part of, we understand how. The knowledge of creation has two sides. Dimension of the plasma, which everything is in it, but has not manifested itself unless you decide how to manifest it. Or the knowledge of the creation, which man needs to understand the totality of, for itself to be able to operate, for it to be able to work, for it to be able to understand the totality of his existence. And once we do that, once we understand this, we come to understand, as it has been said before, man does not need to be part of the physical life, as he can join to be that drop of the ocean without physicality. This is where the soul comes into. How you squeeze that soul, you decide what you see in the dimension of physicality, manifestation, and how you amalgamate different dimensions of that soul, that plasma together, decides on the conformation of the life, physical existence, a cat, a dog, a man, a tree, and the rest. If, as knowledge seekers, you understand how the plasma is the creator of the magnetic field and the strength of, then you find out that all the plasmas themselves inside have a constant common denominator. How you squeeze it gets different field strength out of it. If you understand this principle, then you can decide how the emotion in the soul can change the dimension of emotion in the soul, of physicality, and even physical manifestation. Chameleons of universe. As I explained to a knowledge seeker very recently, if the world of creation leads us to dimension of the interaction with the life, for example, of 3I, we shall see them in the structure like a man, because the emotion of understanding of our emotion, that we need to see something like a man shape, head, tail, two hands, two arms, for us to trust, communicate with. We don't like to communicate with the dog. So they are advanced enough, they're aware of the emotion of our soul, so they manifest themselves in a shape that we can recognize. So do not be baffled. If in the coming time man encounters people from 3I or 4I, whatever, that the manifested entities who look to certain way, the way we can accept, we recognize as intelligent, but in fact it's a mirage. It's the way we created the cancer in ourselves by transferring energy through the emotion. They, through our emotion, manifest themselves in a way that we accept them. We recognize an intelligent. They will not look like us. We can be like us, as so many of them are friends on this planet with us for a long time. But they manifest in a different way that we think they're cleverer, they're superior, and our stupid leaders will bend back forwards to see how they can manipulate them to become more powerful leaders. But don't forget, the leaders of the world, your soul has already been read. You'll be manipulated to nothing. Now you understand. If we change, manipulate the environment, we get different field strength. We get different magnetic field direction. We change the environment and pressure of the earth, we get Chinese, black, white, and the rest. Now, imagine you play the magnetic field of the universe, what you will get. One interesting point that raises, when we look at the unicos and we understand the position of the interaction of the fields, does the unicos from outside looks like a hexagonal ball? And if you understand further point in the structure, then You understand why your heart is such a shape. Then you understand why the position of the heart and the soul are kept in a certain position, and how a fraction of the micro movement creates different races, different emotions, different physicality. Today we talk about face recognition. In the coming time, as we are launching the market cooperation into a very advanced level in the coming weeks, as we have started last night, you will understand the new system will come which recognizes you through your soul and position of your heart. No one can replicate. Then you are a passenger of the universe. We don't connect the eyes. We connect the position of the soul with a pump of the physicality of the soul of physicality of the man. Everyone is individual and there are no replication of it. Now you understand how the structure, how the life, how the position will change, and how we stand to bring the changes through understanding, the true understanding of the science of creation, and not by manipulation. Manipulation to enjoy is your job. We are teachers to show you how to make it. Any abuse will be back to you, as you cannot abuse the system. This is why you'll understand, even in the most advanced way of technologies we'll see from space, because they use the structures like us, they cannot damage us because they're part of us. We are part of them because they show themselves in the matter state. We show ourselves as the skin of the man, the bone, and the rest in another dimension of the same. I made man in the image of myself. I made the universe and its citizens the image of myself. And in my eyes, there's no difference between the son, the daughter, Muslim, Christians, man of space, UFOs, and the rest, because they all carry the essence of the creation of the same ocean. I made life in the image of myself and not the man. Once man understands the principle of the creation and how to manipulate the plasma, man will create anything which he likes, as we showed in May. Gold, silver, dust. We just create the condition. The rotation and the thing was illusion. Life is illusion if there is no soul to dictate the condition of manifestation. And that soul is a drop from that ocean. Understand the teaching of today. Understand the manipulation of the plasma to lead to creation of the fields of the what we call communication of the world of the creation. Then you understand why in the teachings and in trials we have only worked with two elements and no more. What is the fields of the universe, of the plasma, and what is the line which transfers that energy to any matter condition. I have shown so many pictures of this, but you're just so materialistic that you have not understood. Go back on the press release of Mark Corporation in the past 24 hours on the international news. I released a picture of this deliberately, and many of you have seen it. There is a reason. What is a matter state and what is connected to the fields of the plasma of the universe. In the body of the man, you cannot grow a child of a dog or a cat because the womb doesn't allow. In the world of creation, that womb allows anything to be grown inside it. It's just a cluster, it's the cocoon. The decision of what will be in that cocoon is made outside by the emotion, by the dimension of the creation of the fields. I give you a cocoon being made, and you get gold, and the cocoon next to it, you get a cell, you get a protein, you get copper. The cocoon is the plasma field of the universe, which is interacted and creates a condition of inside. You already have decided from outside what to be inside. Try to understand the teaching of today, because we have opened a massive door into the knowledge of the universe. Teaching on the matter state and emotion and the soul and everything else for us is completed, because now by teaching about the creation of the universe, you understand your connection, how it came to be you, how it came to become to earth, how it became to become 3i, how it became to become another galaxy in the universe. You understand the principle through your soul. You know where to position your soul once you leave the physicality dimension of the man. The teaching from now on is for your soul. It's from the energy of the patterns of the universe. You are that drop, which is taken from the ocean. But you know how a drop of different color, when you put in the cup, can change the whole color of the cup. That's the purpose. Pure giving, the love, that it changes, and that cup will change the dimension of in the ocean. How you knowledge seekers through waters in the oceans and the rivers, you have already understood, done the process, and carry on doing it, because those little cups will add to. We have a beautiful saying, Farsi says, "Qatra qatra jam shavad." You can go darya shavad, which means drop gets together and suddenly becomes a ocean, becomes a sea. We cannot have tainted souls which have learned to kill. We need to understand, and this is the process which will go on. We join the structure with the 10,000 units which will go into hand of you in next few weeks, and through that will change the dimension of the interaction of the soul of the man with the soul of physicality, and detachment from the matter state condition, but the enjoyment of the living the life of physicality. Everything is connected to each other, what we've done. And it's time for its, what we call, conclusion, for it's time for it to come to manifestation and for change in the humanity. As I said before, you go due to a characteristic of the inertia of the environment, you look Chinese, you look Indian, you look African. With the spread of these 10,000 units and the systems we add to it, your physicality will stay the same, but we elevate the soul of physicality and this connection to the soul of the man, that the man become a peaceful man. I was explaining this to a lawyer over the weekend. A man is born poor, and because of not having financial or means, is abused by the others. Keshe coin, Keshe structure of the market corporation, gives every child at the point of birth hundreds of thousands. Every child will be born rich that no one can abuse. We are not the dreamer. The system has set up. With that, you create a different soul of the man. We change the position of the matter state. We change the position of the field, the strength of the soul through the 10,000 units. Will make a new man out of the man. And what we see, if the 3i does what it's supposed to do, It brings that pulse frequency which is needed to convert the man to hold on to the man. Not when it goes, it changes and it comes back again. This time it will be a permanent change because man makes that change. There should be no difference between the child born in the back villages of Africa in comfort and pleasure and to be there to survive and availability of everything to it than the man born in the fake palaces of the kings on this planet. It's not a dream. We understand the interaction of the plasma and all the systems we set up works directly through that system. But we use the coin as a greed of the man to enter the man's soul dimension of interaction of the fields of emotion.